Hey YouTubers, this was a film that I was going to make last night, but I got tired and I got stressed and I just kind of put it off. But me and Gunnison have been doing a lot of investigation about fraud and misuse of municipal resources and taxpayers' dollars in Englishtown, New Jersey. And every time we think that we've turned over a rock, there's another one underneath it waiting to be overturned. And in this case, we've talked a lot about how this small town has created patronage plums with their police department and their fire district and this and that. But we haven't talked about the other waste in the community. And last night, when I was reviewing the Englishtown municipal budget, I noticed that there were some discrepancies and issues that need to be addressed regarding their public works department and their recreational expenditures. And the problem is this. Whenever you go to Englishtown has a fairly significant public works complex. They have a nice building with a garage that's usually staffed by a full-time usually staffed by a mechanic that's very visible, who works on borough vehicles, and you can even see it on their Facebook page. Now, when you go to the municipal budget sheets, they're flat out contradictory. I have never once in my life and my 10 plus years of experience reading municipal budget sheets have ever seen a budget done so half-assed backwards as the Englishtown's municipal budget. And when you have a town that's purposely going out of its way to allocate their budget and to divide it into so many different subsections like Englishtown has, you know that there's a problem. All right, folks. You know right now, Englishtown, New Jersey, they claim on paper that they've spent under $250,000 on public works salaries, and they have each public works category, and there's 6 or 7 of them, making $25,000 to $32,000 a year, and that wouldn't even cover the pension contributions, the salary, and the health benefits of a full-time employee. So the self-contradictions, which are inherent and embedded in the Englishtown municipal budgets, kind of cause a need for further inquiry. And I'm not going to let that go, folks, okay? Me and Gunnison Undercover, we're not going to let any of this go. We're pursuing this as an investigative piece. And when we get started on something like that, we don't let it go. Right now, I have pulled up the 2017 Englishtown, New Jersey municipal budget. And the beautiful thing with the municipal budget is that the State Department of Community Affairs, in the local government services section, requires every single municipality, all 565 of them, to submit one annually. And it's done in a very uniformed way. In this case, the municipality has chosen to overdivide their budget and overly categorize it where public works is concerned, to the extent that it's very suspicious. I've never seen a municipality of this size, or even of 3 to 4 times bigger, have a public works department that's so divided into so many different sections. Now, I'm going to get into the exacts for once instead of just pointing fingers and this and that. We're gonna be exact. We're gonna do something that my friend, citizen journalist, and the rest of them never do. We're gonna be precise. Okay, right here, Englishtown, New Jersey, Department of Public Works. They have 6 different sections. They have buildings and grounds, road repair and maintenance, garbage and trash removal, sanitary landfill, um, recycling, and snow removal. Okay, folks? And then the other thing that is a little hinky is this, but almost every town does it to varying degrees. They have a shade tree commission, and the reason for that is state law gives certain money through the Department of Environmental Protection for shade tree services, which is basically like pesticides and this and that to prevent tree diseases and different kinds of environmental concerns. But their shade tree money, just like every other town in Monmouth County, is being spent on public works. What I question is why this town has went out of their way to basically organize their public works budget like this. According to them, their buildings and grounds person salary is $9,300, but there's $40,000 of other expenses. $9,300, folks, won't pay for them to get somebody in there 20 hours a week. All right, there's something a little hinky with this. Unless what they're doing is they're giving the $40,000 to somebody in either overtime or in stipends or something like that, which there's a lot of tax issues with that, and I question why they did that. Then for road repair and maintenance, we have that magic figure again, $9,300 in wages, $15K in other expenses. Huh. Garbage and trash removal have been contracted out for $150,000, which I think is a weird number. It seems either a little too low for municipality or a little too high. It's just a weird number. Their sanitary landfill expenses is $5,000. How do we have a garbage and trash removal expenditure of $150K, but a sanitary landfill expenditure of $5K? Less than 5% of the garbage and trash removal. I mean, am I the only one, or are people starting to see how things aren't adding up? How we have these different categories of money, or these different categories of salaries that wouldn't even cover a part-time worker. I mean, when me and my 2 compatriots went to Englishtown on a Saturday, they had a public works mechanic on duty. All right. So what I would like to know is this somebody that comes in just on the weekends, or is this somebody that comes in on the weekends as well as overtime, but is really being paid in the capacity for a second position, which is what I'm starting to think. That they're like, okay, well, what we're going to do is this. We're going to have you work as a public works mechanic for 12 hours a week. And then when you come on the weekends, we're going to change your title to public works shift operator or public works weekend shift supervisor, so that person gets 2 separate paychecks and they don't have to pay that person time and a half. And that's what it's beginning to look like they're doing, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if what they're doing is this is really salaries and jobs that are going to one person. But judging by this municipality, folks, that would not surprise me. That would not surprise me if what they did is they have 1 or 2 public works guys and they divided their salaries into 6 different categories. That would be par for the course when it comes to dealing with Englishtown, you know? Then if you go down, the other thing that I think is really, really hinky is this. The municipality has a shared services agreement with its fire district. And now here's where Mr. Cook could be in a little bit of trouble. the municipality of Englishtown entered into a fire agreement, or entered into a shared services agreement with its fire district, which is technically a separate government department or a government entity. It's not part of the municipality, but it covers the municipality. Like a school board and a town are different government entities. So in this instance, we knew that there were conflicts of interest, but this further bolsters that claim. And an ethics complaint, which I've been dutifully working on, but I have not filed yet because I want to make sure that it withstands the test of time. I want to make sure when I file an ethics complaint in Englishtown that that complaint essentially has no legal grounds for it to be rejected by the local finance board who hears state ethics complaints. In this instance, the Englishtown police chief sits on the fire commission and has basically allocated funds from the fire commission back to the municipality, which is his employer. I could prove that right now without a problem. I mean, and that's not legal. That's a total conflict of interest. Basically, he has used money that the voters allocated for the fire district to be reallocated back to the municipality and pay for the Englishtown extremely inflated police department. And when that comes to light, folks, there's not going to be much that anybody can say about that. That's a fact. Okay? And that's a direct conflict of interest. That's almost as bad, if not worse, than the Englishtown police chief being the husband of a councilwoman, a sitting councilwoman. It's the same thing, but it's worse. Because right there, I proved a direct financial conflict of interest, which is the type of thing that the LFB is looking for all of the time. And this is the type of thing right now that when you file one of these complaints, what happens is this, and this is where I have mixed feelings when it comes to local finance board complaints. You file it, it takes forever and a day for it to get adjudicated. It never used to work that way under the old executive director, but the way that they do things nowadays, they move at a slug's pace. But when a decision is issued, the most that they can do is give a $500 to $1,000 fine in the case. That's the very most that they can do. They can't remove the person from office. But common sense would dictate that if this person remains in the position, pays the fine, but remains in the position and keeps doing what they're doing, more LFB complaints are going to be filed. Okay? And that's the beautiful thing with the system, is the system places pressure on that person to alleviate the legal conflict of interest and to resign from at least one capacity or both. In this case, Peter Cook has to step down from the Englishtown Fire Commission. I mean, the budget just proved that there was a conflict of interest. He voted on the matter. He didn't recuse himself. I mean, these people are so brazen that they don't feel that the law applies to them. These people feel that they can do whatever the heck that they want, and they can make whatever rules they want, even if it conflicts with state law, because it's their kingdom. It's their fiefdom. And a lot of people out there don't feel that way. I mean, I am a New Jersey taxpayer. I lived in this state my whole life. Why should I have to pay for this bum and his family to be making hundreds of thousands of dollars, some of which is illegal? It's not all on the up and up. And I'm going to have to pay for this guy's pension and this police department, which, you know, at first, folks, I agree 90% of the time with Gunnison undercover in principle. And I always have. I agree with him in principle and this and that. But sometimes, or where our thinking diverges or our thinking parts ways, is we don't necessarily agree with strategy or outcome. And in this case, I have always thought that the Englishtown Police Department is a waste of money to the umpth degree. Don't get me wrong. But in the same token, I don't necessarily see that there's a better alternative in a town like Englishtown to abolish or So the law should replace the police department. I don't think Manalapan's coverage is going to be for much cheaper than what Englishtown is paying right now for the police department. I mean, according to this, they paid $832,000 in salaries. That doesn't include health benefits, and that doesn't include pension contributions. So even if right now Englishtown did go with Manalapan for coverage, what would happen would be is Manalapan would have to hire at least 2 to 3 officers to cover Englishtown. And at the end of the 3-year contract, what's to say Englishtown doesn't say, hey, we're not happy with the coverage. We're backing out of it. And now Manalapan is stuck in a real bind. Because it's not so easy, folks, for a municipality to lay off a public worker without extended severance and compensation. Okay? Where I'm going to leave this off is this. That budget gave me and Gunnison Undercover the smoking gun to file the ethics complaint. I am going to work on that ethics complaint sometime today. It's going to be filed via email Tuesday with the State Ethics Commission. Now, whether or not the Patch or another Monmouth County paper like the useless Asbury Park Press that couldn't find their ass from a hole in the ground picks up on the story and runs it is a different story. I highly doubt that they will do so because they are the type of newspaper. They're reactive and they're not proactive. And any stories like this, they don't want to hear it, folks. Okay? I mean, me and Gunnison, we went to the fair, Monmouth County Fair this year, and we caught a very, very high-ranking and pivotal official in county government misrepresenting herself on the record. And the Asbury Park Press wasn't the least bit interested. And that's bothersome, folks, because even with our modes of communication and our viewership now, we can't compete with mainstream media yet. Yet is the key word. We're almost there, but we're not there. You know? NJ Diver, I can totally relate. And I foresee in the next couple of years, they're going to do the ethics system like they do Oprah. They're going to have a 2-tier system with ethics complaint where you have the choice whether to file with the commission or whether to file a summary action lawsuit. But that's another story for another time. Until then, we got you, Englishtown. Take it easy. Take it easy, guys. I should be back probably tomorrow night.